Carpentry by NJT is based in the western suburbs and has many years of experience to assist you in sourcing any and all of your carpentry needs. Carpentry by NJT are great supporters of local soccer clubs in Melbourne's western suburbs, including ambitious State League One outfit Sydenham Park Soccer Club. Home Builders Corp, meanwhile, is a Melbourne-based construction company by the same owners with more than 15 years' experience. Home Builders Corp specialises in new homes and unit developments. With attention to detail, they work to the highest standard to satisfy their customers with a very quick turnaround. For further details about how either Carpentry by NJT or Home Builders Corp can help you, contact owner-manager Nick on 0410 576 018 or via email at nick@homebuilderscorp.com.au. Carpentry by NJT and Home Builders Corp are the proud major sponsors of the Football Out West show. Good evening, folks, and welcome to yet another episode of the Football Out West show, Season 5, Episode 23, and that translates into our 125th episode. Folks, my name is Tonchi Prusak. Absolute pleasure to be here with you tonight, and the band is back. It's one last time for 2024 before 2 out of the 3 go their separate ways, and we'll find out a little bit more about that. But first of all, it's a big, big welcome, as every Sunday is the case with him, Steve Curtin. Good evening, Steve. How are you?
Yeah, thanks, Tonchi. Very well. Good to be joining you for the final time on the show this year, for me at least anyway. And it was good to be a part of the final day action yesterday and met one of our loyal viewers, Bobby Trenkowski, the goalkeeper coach from Altona Magic yesterday. So big hello to Bobby and everyone who tunes into the show each and every week. It's great to know that people are actually spending their Sunday night with us when they could be off doing something else that they get value out of our show. But how are you, Tonch?
Good, mate. Good. It's been very hectic. It's been absolutely nuts. And I tell you what, the earlier kickoff time slot tonight of 6 p.m. due to the Women's World Cup final a little bit later on, it's just compacted our Sunday afternoons. And while most people are out and about enjoying their Sunday afternoons, we are crazily and hastily preparing the show for tonight. But tonight is going to be an unbelievable show. And joining us as well for the last time in 2023. Before he has his little bit of an end-of-season break, is Craig Filer, our esteemed colleague. Craig, good evening, and how are you?
Good evening, Steve. Good evening, Tonchi. Good evening, listeners. I'm very well, thank you. Very tired, very tired, but I'm all good. Just looking forward to a few weeks break now. Bit of a knee operation in a couple of days' time, which was due a month ago. Hence the reason why I haven't been on. But that got cancelled and it's been rescheduled for Thursday. So looking forward to getting that out of the way, and then the rehab starts, and we'll see where we go from there.
The off-season rehab. I'm sure there are a few players that are going to be doing the very, very similar. Boys, what a huge show we've got tonight, culminating obviously with the Women's World Cup final later tonight, England and Spain. But we'll talk about our show tonight. It's going to be massive. Craig, you've been incredibly hardworking getting some super guests on tonight. Tell us about our guests for tonight's show.
Yeah, thanks, Tonch. First up we have, I suppose I'm sure he's going to be jubilant. I'm not actually sure whether he's home yet, but we will hopefully get him on board. It's the head coach of obviously that reigning premiers, we can say that now, in ZORAN Markovsky of Avondale. Following him, he's definitely not home, will be NICK TOLIOS, Dandenong City, who went on a fantastic run and got back into NPL at the first attempt. So massive kudos to Nick and the team down there at Dandenong. We'll have a quick chat with him about the season and how it's unfolded. And then we're going to jump over to George KARKALETIS.
KARKALETIS.
Birthday it is today, and what a birthday surprise.
Is that right?
What a birthday surprise he's had, hasn't he?
Wow.
Getting Manningham United Blues promoted to the promised land, and a fantastic story, and one I think probably 99.9% of the Victorian football fraternity wouldn't have imagined that Manningham Blues would be heading into the NPL at the beginning of the season. So really good, and really interested to see his insight into the season. Any thoughts on that one, guys?
Oh, it's incredible. It is amazing. Like as you said, out of left field. George KARKALETIS, he's been quite involved in a number of clubs over the years, and a very wily old veteran he is, that's for sure. Oh, I won't call him old, but a wily veteran, that's for sure.
Experienced. He's very experienced.
Incredibly experienced. But, gents, about NPL 2, now this year we called it the Chaos League, and we talked, and I think we were the ones that referred to it as the Chaos League, and other pundits and experts have been doing the same. But next year, all three A-League academy clubs, Melbourne City, Melbourne Victory, Western United, you've got Preston Lions, you've got North Geelong and Bentley Greens coming down. Then you've got Caroline Springs, George Cross. Steve, amazing. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of good teams in there. Interesting to see how Craig's, Werribee City side go next year as well, what they've got in store. And wow, what a league it'll be.
It certainly will be, and we'll talk more on that later on, no doubt. But and finally, our guest, and we're really pleased to have him. It hasn't been a good season for the club, one of the big clubs in Australian football, who find themselves being relegated from NPL 2 into NPL 3. We have DOMINIC, who's the president of Brunswick Juventus, will be joining us to give us his thoughts on what has been a very difficult season for Juventus up there at CB Smith Reserve.
That's Dominic Montesano, the president of Brunswick Juventus. He'll be joining us very shortly. Folks, we're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, it's the news desk, a very, very short news desk, before we then head off with our first guest, who will be ZORAN MARKOVSKI, the Avondale FC coach. Folks, don't go away. It is the Football Out West Show. Well, late last week, the Australia Cup round of 16 schedule was announced, and we've got 4 Victorian clubs who will be taking part in that. Steve, did you want to go through the through the fixtures for the round of 16?
Yeah, it was good to sit up late. It was fairly late. This draw took place on Monday night, and since then the fixtures have been locked into the venues and the dates and the kickoff times as well. And what a good competition it's been. These matches have been squeezed in on the odd days that have been rest days in the Women's World Cup, and so we've basically had football pretty much every day. I was at a bit of a loss this afternoon coming home, and there was no games on to tune into. But yeah, the round of 16, we're going to see the opening matches played on Saturday, the 26th of August. Sydney United will host Brisbane Roar the following day. Melbourne City hosting Wellington Phoenix. An all A-League battle on the Tuesday, the 29th, between Western Sydney and Adelaide United. Metro Stars, another South Australian outfit, will be hosting the Inter Lions on the same night, as will be the Melbourne Knights, another home tie for them against Campbelltown City of South Australia, who knocked out the cup holders, Macarthur, last round as well. That should be a good tie there at Knights Stadium. Speaking of Knights, Gold Coast Knights, they're hosting Western United on Wednesday the 30th up there on the sunny Gold Coast, and Mount Druitt Town Rangers, they're hosting Heidelberg United, so a second consecutive road trip for both Heidelberg and Western United as well. Also Apia Leichhardt and Sydney FC. We'll see the powerhouse NPL side against the glamour team from the A-League there. That's on Wednesday the 30th as well. There's plenty of excitement there in the Australia Cup as always, guys.
Yeah, interesting to see in there, isn't it? There's a number of A-League teams playing against each other, so opportunities for some of the lesser clubs to progress in the competition.
Indeed, that's for sure. Now, Craig, let's take a look at NPL 3. We're going to look at NPL 1 and NPL 2 in its entirety, I guess, in a comprehensive way tonight. But if we turn our attention to NPL 3, this is an interesting league, to say the least. It finished yesterday, and let's have a look at the ladder, and we'll also go through the results.
Yeah, look, Caroline Springs, George Cross, champions of the league. Second time in 2 seasons that they've won the championship, and quite resounding. 15 games unbeaten is fantastic at whatever league you're playing in. To go on a 15-match unbeaten run and is incredible, and they thoroughly deserve to get promoted back up into NPL 2.
Yeah. So if we look at the results from yesterday's game. Box Hill United 0, Boroondara Carey Eagles 2. George Cross defeated Essendon Roars 1-0. Geelong finished the season with a 1-0 win over Beau Morris, but unluckily for Geelong, they'd already secured, relegation the week before. I don't know if that's a good way of putting it. Melbourne Victory 1 goal can secure relegation or suffered relegation, I guess. Yeah. Goulburn Valley Suns 2-1 over winners over Melbourne Victory. North Sunshine Eagles 7-5 winners over Ballarat City. What a 12-goal extravaganza, that one. And in the final game, Nunawading City defeated Doveton 3-0. Geelong and Ballarat, Steve, relegated. Unfortunately, 2 regional teams. They're out of the NPL family.
Yeah, sad to see that happen. And look, let's hope that they can bounce back and make a quick return to the NPL competition. And we saw how good it was. My first year covering games when we had the G Classico back when, Geelong were in NPL 2, and hopefully they can get back there. And, Ballarat, they've been a production line for talent as well. I had the pleasure of watching one of the top players in NPL Victoria yesterday, Jalil Regaig, playing for Port Melbourne, and, just one of many good players to come out of that region.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, boys, we're going to look at the NPLW competition as well before we turn our attention to NPL Victoria and NPL 2 Victoria. If we look at the women's competition, that finished yesterday as well. And Boroondara Eagles lost to South Melbourne. Whoa, that was a big result. And that meant that Bulleen Lions were able to leapfrog the Eagles into top spot, and they've secured the minor premiership. So the top 4 there, Bulleen Lions, Boroondara, South Melbourne and Calder United. Southern United relegated to next year's VPLW competition. But Steve, the first year that we saw the NPLW competition expanded to 11 teams.
Look, I think it was a good movie in the end. There was a bit of criticism after it was, only 8 teams last year, and they were planning to add, they were going to add 4. They ended up adding 3. It will be good to maybe eliminate the bye and get that up to 12 next year. But I think, look, it's been interesting, and the league got, as we expected, it got spiced up a lot with the inclusion of the A-League women's players when they were able to join at the end of their season and put the cat amongst the pigeons a little bit. But I suppose the special mention has to go to Boroondara Carey Eagles. What a season they had coming out of the VPLW last year, and a lot of teams might have expected them to be languishing, but they put a really good squad together. And what a fantastic season, finishing on 38 points with a plus 19 goal difference from their 20 games, 12 wins. Fantastic season, and just pipped at the post by 2 points by the FC Bulleen Lions. So congratulations to them as well.
Now, Brunswick Juventus may have been relegated from NPL 2 to NPL 3, but their women's team have been promoted into the NPLW competition, and they'll be joined by Essendon Royals. So Brunswick Juventus and Essendon Royals next year will be part of the NPLW setup as the NPLW competition expands to 12 teams in 2024. This season's just almost finished, not quite, and already we're looking forward to next year. This year was a huge year, Craig. Next year's, I've got a feeling next year's is going to be even bigger. But let's talk about the promotion relegation, the cutthroat nature of promotion and relegation. Mate, if Australian football had brains, they would not worry about the AFL, the NRL, what the media is saying, what the politicians are saying. They just go off and do what is supposed to be, the traditional way of doing things, promotion, relegation. We would have an unbelievable sport here in Australia, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we would, and it's interesting to see off the back of the Matildas that the media was going ballistic, and then all of a sudden they went back to their usual self when people started celebrating in an unusual way, which really annoys me. But hey, look, it is what it is. It's the media here in Australia, and that's not going to change in the foreseeable future. Only people like us and everybody involved in football can change that. So, but yeah, look, football's fantastic to see what's happened this year in NPL 1, NPL 2, and to a lesser degree NPL 3. To see the league go down to the final game of the season in both those leagues for not so much promotion for NPL, but certainly for relegation, and obviously the same in NPL 2 has been fantastic for anybody involved. As a neutral, for someone who's involved in the game at a club capacity, it's an absolute nightmare. But it's exactly what you want as a football.
What's going on here?
In my battery, my camera's just falling down, so I'll put it back up in a minute once I finish. But it's great to see that the football in Victoria is healthy. The crowds are healthy, and our clubs are putting everything in they can to make it a success. So long may it continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, we're going to take a very, very short break. When we do return, we will have our very, very first guest for tonight, and that is the Avondale FC coach, ZORAN MARKOVSKI. Don't go away, folks. We'll be back very, very shortly. Carpentry by NJT is based in the western suburbs and has many years of experience to assist you in sourcing any and all of your carpentry needs. Carpentry by NJT are great supporters of local soccer clubs in Melbourne's western suburbs, including ambitious State League 1 outfit Sydenham Park Soccer Club. Home Builders Corp, meanwhile, is a Melbourne-based construction company by the same owners with more than 15 years' experience. Home Builders Corp specialises in new homes and unit developments. With attention to detail, they work to the highest standard to satisfy their customers with a very quick turnaround. For further details about how either Carpentry by NJT or Home Builders Corp can help you, contact owner-manager Nick on 0410 576 018 or via email at nick@homebuilderscorp.com.au. Carpentry by NJT and Home Builders Corp are the proud major sponsors of the Football Out West show.
All right, and welcome back to the Football Out West show. It's time for our first guest, and we're pleased to have on the show tonight the man who's steered Avondale to their first ever Premier's plate in NPL Victoria. They clinched it on Wednesday night when Heidelberg upset South Melbourne in the catch-up game. It's a very honoured to have you on the show. ZORAN MARKOVSKI, thanks for your company. One of the great personalities of Victorian football joining us tonight. ZORAN, how are you?
Good, Steve. Thanks for having me on. Hi, Tonch. Craig, how are you?
How are you, Zoki? Good to have you on.
Pleasure, mate.
Steve, do you want to go?
Oh, Craig, were you going to... Oh, sorry, I'll go first. So, look, let's go back to Wednesday night. Zoki, you guys were training, I believe, when the news come through, or you just finished the training session, that South Melbourne had been defeated by Heidelberg and you guys had been crowned the premiers of NPL Victoria for the first time.
Yeah, it was a funny one, Steve. I think we brought training a bit forward because of the Matildas. Everyone wanted to watch the Matildas game, and I was about 5 minutes from home when I got a phone call from the boys to come back to the club as Heidelberg's just scored, and I just said, mate, I'm focused and hopefully get the Matildas into the semi-final. You know what I mean? So, no, the boys celebrated. It was a big occasion. Obviously, it was unexpected. I thought it was going to go down to the last round of the season, but we're still focused on round 26 to get a result in front of our home fans and accept the trophy in front of our board, our supporters, and the whole playing group, partners, wives, and children. So I think it was a special occasion to do it at Adventure Park on the last day of the season.
Yeah, fantastic achievements. Oh, congratulations, mate. I know it's
Thanks, Craig.
the club's had a rough time over the last couple of years, as it's well documented. So it's great to see that you finally get your hands on that, legitimately get your hands on that Premier's plate, mate. So I know the club will be really proud. Just looking at the record this year, mate, played 26, won 21, drew 3, lost 1. Now, unfortunately, that loss came when me and Steve commentated that game down at South Melbourne. So we do apologise for that profusely. But look, 78 goals scored. That's been the key for your success this year, hasn't it? The amount of goals that you've scored, certainly early on in the season. Would I be fair to say that's correct?
Yeah, I agree, Craig. I think obviously we knew what our home ground at Avenger Park was going to be one of the training facilities for the Women's World Cup, and I think our club organised that we play 9 home games or by the halfway mark, and they ended up fixing up the ground, and the ground was in super nick, and we took advantage of that. And I set the boys a target during pre-season where the ball's gone out of their way to give you a good playing surface, and we need to make this place a fortress. And full credit to the boys. I think we won 12 games at Avenger Park and took 1 home game to Bendigo. So our target was to win all our home games and make it a fortress, like I said, and to get 39 points in your home fixture will set yourself up to winning the league. And I think we pinched the vital points away from home as well, and that topped it off, like I said, to win all your home games really set us up to win the Premiership's plate.
Now, how much of a challenge was that playing away? Sorry, Tonch. Playing away. The amount of games obviously you had to play away due to the Women's World Cup. How much of an effect did it have? Obviously, from a results perspective, it didn't. But how much of an inconvenience was it to play those games away?
I think the only inconvenience there, Craig, was doesn't matter where you play. You're still playing in the state. And I think for us, it was more so where we train at our ground 3 nights a week and obviously play on the Saturdays. To move away for 6 weeks to Melbourne Grammar, where I think the first time the lights failed, the first session went there, the lights failed a bit, so we ended up getting more lights there. But the surface at Melbourne Grammar was exceptional. Yeah, it's a world class facility and really well set up for sporting events there. They've got football ovals, hockey, synthetic, and a great soccer pitch there. And we really enjoyed it. The boys enjoyed it. It was pretty much central to everyone. Wherever they live, it was central. So there was no inconvenience there. But we just knew we had a job to do. You know what I mean? It's one of those scenarios where you look at the bigger picture. And from the start of the year, I knew that we failed last year as a group. You know what I mean? We had injuries there. There's no excuses. Yeah, we had a good squad last year, and to finish 7th for the Avondale Football Club, but to turn it around this year from day dot of pre-season, the second week in November, and stay on top of the ladder, especially the top tier at NPL for pretty much 22, 23 weeks. I think nothing was going to phase us. Doesn't matter if we moved to Avenger Park or we played away games. I thought we were that resilient this year and really focus on the job ahead.
Yeah, Zoc, look, looking back now, I know you're going to make a very good, a comprehensive analysis of the season just gone by, the post-mortem and what you're not, and that'll probably happen in weeks and months to come by. But looking back, what do you think was the main factors that contributed to not just the success this year of Avondale FC, but the overwhelming success? I mean, completely dominating the league, and it is a damn good league. The quality, the standard. We've all commentated. We've seen really good standard this year. But what was it that really made Avondale just light years ahead of the opposition?
I think their torch. I think we kept the core of the squad. Obviously, added 5-6 new additions, and I think the boys we've added in, they've been exceptional for us. Yeah, I think Xander Guy scored 10 goals. Thomas Manos has kept 11 clean sheets. Aidan Bryce has been super in defence for us. And especially the transfer window to bring in a player like George Mells and George Ott. You know what I mean? Players like that don't come around that often at the transfer window. When I heard, they wanted to move on, and I didn't hesitate at all just to bring him to the environment at Avondale. But I think the difference is, Tone, Taunch, I think the focus from pre-season, the boys, the harmony we built in the group, and knowing where, like I said, for us as at Avondale, where we've been the benchmark pretty much, and pretty much didn't deliver in the big moments. And I think bringing a calibre of footballers with experience in Manos and Bryce that have won things in Newcastle and Sydney added a bit of steel to the group. And they bought in straight away from day dot. And you can see in the end, I know what Craig was saying, but it's a remarkable achievement for a football club, let alone to win three or something in a row. But to win 21 games out of 26 and only drop one game, and then, like Craig said, I think him and Steve were commentating that game, and it was a 3-0 loss to us. But it's a remarkable effort, yeah. And it goes down to, we changed a few things. We changed our fitness. We brought a new fitness staff in, Johnny Corbella. He's been super. The coaching staff self-reflected from last year. We had a review last year with the whole playing group moving forward, and we just wanted to put this club back where it belongs. And it takes a lot of hard work, yeah. And we never stop, yeah. We never stop. We keep learning as coaches, and players keep learning. And we're just so proud of this group and so proud for the club, yeah, because the club's back to the coaching staff. And I've been there, like I said, for 5 years.
Sure. Sorry.
I've been there 5 years as a head coach, and to achieve the ultimate goal, I think, they call it the minor premiership, but for me,
it's the league, isn't it?
It is.
Absolutely. Me and my coaching staff, that was our target, yeah. For me, it wasn't about making the six. It was about knowing how good this group was and really pushing forward to get them to the next level. And I'm so proud of the coaching staff, the fitness staff, even medical staff, but most importantly, I'm so proud of my group where you play each other home and away, and I still don't know how they call this the minor premiership, yeah? Like you go in, and I know it's a top six, but if I look at the top six and I look at the points difference, pretty much nine games difference from sixth spot. And if we don't rock up in a finals game, you know what I mean? It's a scenario where we can just be pushed out of the finals. But at the same time, for me personally, what an achievement. And that was our main target, and you know what I mean, we achieved it. So it's full credit to the playing group and the coaching staff.
Yeah, definitely well put there, Zoran. Will there be added motivation come finals time? We spoke to Liam Boland recently, a stalwart at the club and of NPL Victoria. He said it sounds like it's his last dance before he heads back to Western Australia this final series. We've enjoyed watching him this year playing as a striker, then also as a 10. He's reimagined his role, or you've done that for him this year. How have you seen his season, and does his departure at the end of the year added motivation for the team?
Yeah, Liam Boland came up to me during pre-season and pretty much said that it was going to be his last year in Victorian football, and he wanted to leave Melbourne with a trophy in his hand. And he had a fantastic pre-season, and he's been super for us this year. Liam Boland he's been one of the brilliant forwards in the NPL Victoria for a long time now. To score 100 goals, he's going to go down in the record books, and he's been a super footballer for the Avondale Football Club. And to see him get his first trophy I know we won the Doherty Cup for the first main trophy to win in Victoria football. Mate, I was ecstatic for the kid, and hopefully we can finish off the next two games and send him off on a bigger high.
Just, I got two questions to finish up on. How do you keep the players happy at the club? Because not everybody's play. You're winning constantly. You're winning, and you've just said to bring in people like George Ott, George Mells, and the players that you bought in pre-season. How do you keep all those players happy? And obviously winning helps, but obviously those that are not playing, those that are coming back from injury, how do you, ZORAN Markovski, manage those players in those environments?
Yeah, good question, Craig. I think especially when you build a group, you build a squad of 20-odd players, and you bring a couple of youngsters on your roster, and it's a tough job. It's not easy. You've got to but I'm straightforward with my players every week. You know what I mean? Tell them when they're starting or what they need to do to get a break in the squad, or why they're on the bench and they're going to have an impact. For me, soccer's one of those things. When you go achieve something, you achieve it as a group. Yeah, you don't achieve it as an individual. And I always pride myself on telling footballers it's not about the individual. Yeah, you're not going to lose me a game, or you're not going to win me a game. Whatever we lose, we're going to lose as a team. We're going to win as a team. Yeah, but the boys have just bought in from day dot since I've got the job at Avondale, and it is a tough one, Craig. But at the same time, when you're going well, the joint's really bubbly. Yeah, it's bubbly, and everyone's up and about, and training's intense, and that intensity is going to rise again because obviously we're not playing next week. But for 2 weeks of training, the intensity is going to get really high, and the boys are upbeat at the minute. the way they celebrated yesterday, I think they're never going to forget it for the rest of their lives.
Nor should they, because it is a fantastic achievement. So you just said then you've got a couple of weeks off preparing Altona Magic in the other competition that you need to go and win now, because you've won the big one, which is the Premier the league. You've got Altona Magic in a few weeks' time. How Altona Magic? Yeah,
maybe.
No, I think the way it works there, Craig. I think Oakley's playing Altona Magic. I think we play the lowest.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So we'll play the lowest ranked winner. So that's either if Altona beats Oakley, then we'll play Altona. But I'll be more focused on both games, but more focused on the Knights Port Melbourne game, because 4th versus 5th, if we, you know what I mean. But in the end, anything's possible in finals. It's a one-off game, and if it goes to extra time or penalties, but you look at the teams that are in the 6. Yeah, Altona's been phenomenal this year. Melbourne Knights have been super under Ben Kahn, playing outstanding football. Adam Piddick's got his boys up and about at the minute. And you look at Oakley. CT's done a fantastic job with Oakley. They've gone on and won the Doherty Cup and last year's reigning champions. It's not going to be easy.
No, it's going to be definitely a tough one. Mate, on that note, thank you very much for joining us here on the Football Out West show. We wish you all the best for the final series, and we look forward to getting you on the show in 2024. But in the meantime, there's still the top 6 final series to come, so all the best for that, Zocchi.
No, thanks, Craig, Steve, Tonch. Love your work, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Zocchi. Congratulations again.
A very, very hard-working coach, and it shows with all the success that he's been having there at Avondale FC. Zoran Markovsky, the coach there at the minor premiers. We're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, we turn our attention to NPL 2 Victoria, the competition of chaos. And boy, what a chaotic competition he threw up in 2023. We'll be speaking with the coach of the champions, Dandenong City, NICK TOLIOS, straight after this break. Folks, don't go away. It is the Football Out West show.
Our name is derived from the Greek prefix, macro, large. From the day we were born, this has been a promise for the future. We have grown through dedication, sweat, self-denial, faithful to our mission of being on the side of those who put themselves on the line. Through our name, we celebrate the greatness of those who believe there are no obstacles higher than their dreams. The courage to get back up after falling. The obstinacy of believing until the end. These are the values embedded in our logo. The Macron Hero. It's a celebration of sacrifice and tenacity. Up until your personal victory. Until your arms are in the sky. Become your own hero.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. It's our NPL Victoria final day of the season special. And Craig, it's a pleasure to have you again tonight. You're going to introduce our next guest.
I am. Thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here, mate. Yes, it is the NPL 2 2023 championship winning coach, NICK TOLIOS. Welcome to the show, Nick. How's the head?
It's my voice is a little bit croaky, to be fair, but enjoyable night last night, that's for sure.
I'm sure it was down there at Dandenong City. You're looking very tan there, mate. The boys did a great job while you were away.
I think they did a better job without me. So phenomenal achievement, I guess. Look, knowing that I left the team in good hands with Billy Theo and Nick Kalmar and Ramsey Nasir, Rafi Bornian. Look, everyone was fantastic. You know, John Honos as well. He was away for a little bit, then came back. But to continue what we wanted to do throughout the season and be able to, cement that top spot before I got back was amazing. And it's not easy watching from afar, I can tell you that, Craig.
I can imagine.
Absolutely. And for those who don't know, how long were you away for? And also, what was the message going into the final game against the Eastern Lions at home yesterday in front of what looked like a big crowd?
Yeah, look, the crowd for the last 2 games on Monday night against Bulleen and obviously the last home game was amazing. But look, from my point of view, it was just to get the result. Like Zocchi said just previously, it's not easy to win something and have an opportunity to win the championship, especially at home, was something that I told the players, doesn't come around very often. So we've got to take every opportunity, and lucky we came through with a win.
Now, Nick, obviously Dandenong City were part of the NPL Victoria competition last year, relegated, and the edict from the club hierarchy was simple: we want to get back as soon as possible. So obviously there was a lot of pressure to perform right at the start, but the first few rounds, I guess, things didn't go all that well. Was the pressure start to get even more immense, or did you kind of know long term, once the squad settles, you'd have no problem?
Oh, look, I knew that bringing in 15, 16 new players to the squad was going to be difficult. And I did think it'll take 6 to 8 weeks for us to settle and find our feet. And look, with a job like this, and the expectation from the club was simple, to get promotion. Yeah, you feel the pressure, but we didn't change a lot. And I think the biggest key for us was getting that consistency in the squad to understand how we wanted to do things. And we were lucky enough to be able to do that. Obviously, we didn't have that many injuries, suspensions and all that we were pretty good with. So having that consistency, and then as we built and got a bit of momentum, I think that helped a lot.
What's that background noise? Is that another TV happening in the background?
No, I'm not sure. I think it could be my son. Hang on, give me 2 seconds. He's just popped in now. I couldn't hear because I had my headphones on.
That's all right, mate. Now, obviously, Tonch has just mentioned there about, and you mentioned there about the squad coming together. There was a lot of new players coming into the team this year, Nick, that have come from clubs in the NPL structure, and you've built up a very, very good squad. We spoke a number of times throughout the season about, just getting the players to believe in themselves and to be a little bit more ruthless. I think was some of the chats we had. How did you get that into them? Because you've either got that, haven't you, or you haven't got that, and it must be really hard as a coach to know what they've got to do, but try and influence it in some way.
I think Zaki hit the nail on the head with winning games and having that atmosphere at the club where everyone's up and about, but then having that competition within the squad, the intensity picked up, and really it started to show because everyone could see or sense that we were heading in the right direction. So everyone wanted to be part of it. So with that, competition brings that extra bit of intensity to training, and then hope, and a lot of that was obviously then brought into the game. But I think the mentality of some of the older boys who've been there and won things has also helped. People like Jacob Alexander, George Lambertidis, and obviously our captain Jack Webster. You could see they started to raise their game and really put the pressure on the rest of the squad.
Now, Nick, a fantastic season. Looking at the table there again, it speaks for itself. But what has the club got to do now to try and move into the top flight and form a competitive side that can, maybe challenge for that, stay in the league, maybe challenge for the top 6 even?
I think you said it in that first question, is what do we have to do to keep that stability? I think that the hardest thing to do is get promoted. That's first and foremost. The second one is to have that competitive team and also cement your spot in the league where you can build on. You look at St Albans, they've been doing that for the last 5 or 6 years, and it's not an easy task. I think Moreland this year has done a fantastic job, and credit to them, hanging on the last day. But it's not an easy task, and we know that there's a lot of quality teams there. There's a lot of quality teams that missed out on the top 6 this year. So we know they're going to strengthen, and we've just got to make sure that we're bringing the right characters that we need and to continue what we've done this year.
Now, Nick, the club enjoys a lot of support from the Croatian community out in the southeastern suburbs, and including I&D Constructions. Ivan Filipovic, who's a big backer of the Australian Croatian clubs in Geelong, in Victoria, but especially of Dandenong City. How good has that backing been to form a team this year in what we believe is the competition of chaos? It was one of those leagues where anything could have happened. But when we started approaching players to come to Dandenong City, did a lot of players say, yeah, it's an attractive destination to come because we know the club is very ambitious. The club's got some great resources and it's got some great facilities.
I think that helps. And again, Ivan's a very passionate person and he loves Dandy City and it's his family club, and he's seen his son play from the juniors all the way through. But I think the players we targeted were players, again, look, that I knew were hungry. There were players that had the right characters that we needed in that change room, because I think the culture is what we wanted to start with first. Build a good culture, build the right change room, their environment that we wanted, and then with everything they've got set up there with the junior setup and the committee and the amount of people that work super hard to be able to give us every opportunity to field a successful team on the park, I think that helped by having the right players in that change room.
Yeah. Craig.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm just going to see the back of him, if I'm absolutely honest.
We had some good games this year, though. We had some great
games. I think the first game was at our place, and I think we were 3-1 up with 10 minutes to go, and I think he came back to 3-3, and I think there was a little whisper in the air on we walking out and said, "Thanks, you might have just saved my job."
Well, we missed a penalty as well. We missed a penalty in the 96th minute. Yeah.
And then we came down to yours just 4 or 5 weeks ago, and yeah, it was a disaster. We conceded in the 97th minute, I think, and you guys took home. So I'm really glad that you're going up to NPL 1, mate. Sick of the sight of you, to be honest with you.
I appreciate the honesty.
We're always honest here on the Football Hour, aren't we, Craig?
Very good. And one. You got another question?
No,
Craig,
you go on, Steve. Go
on. Just time for one more. One from me, I suppose, Nick. And again, congratulations. What's on next for you in the next few months, the rest of the calendar year? Is there any time for rest? Are you going to get ready for pre-season, or any coach development opportunities, or any more trips abroad? What's the plans coming up for the rest of the year?
I think I've had enough rest. I think everyone keeps telling me I've spent all my holidays this season. Look, to be honest, it's just to enjoy what we've done the last couple of days. And, last week, or this week's been, a massive roller coaster, especially Monday night, the way we got promotion, and then to, finish it off yesterday at home. Regroup, sit down with the players. I think we go away for the Croatian Cup as well in Adelaide early September. So that's something that I think the playing group's looking forward to, sort of important trip away as a unit. And then after that, it's just sit down and regroup and hopefully figure out what we do moving forward with the next season. But I guess the main thing will be what's going to happen also with the B League, because it's still up in the air. Not many people know what's going to happen and how's that going to affect the leagues. That's also going to be something that we've got to stay tuned for, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, either way, B League or no B League, there's going to be a very, very short pre-season. And before you know it, early February, mid-February, or whenever it does start, the NPL Victoria circus will be back in town. Nick, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the little bit of days off that you do get and regroup. And we look forward to chatting to you in 2024, and wish you and Dandenong City all the very best.
Thanks, Tom, Steve, and Craig. Again, as always, fantastic show. Well done.
Thanks,
Nick.
Good luck.
All the best.
Good on you. That was Nick Tolios, the Dandenong City head coach, and he will be taking his charges up to NPL Victoria next season. Folks, it's time to take a quick break, take a quick breather. When we return, we'll be talking to the coach of the second NPL 2 side that has come from nowhere, we said, Manningham United Blues, and they will also be joining Dandenong City in the State's elite competition next year. We'll be speaking to George KARKALETIS just after this break, folks. It's a very short one. Don't go away.
All right, welcome back to the Football Out West show, and we're going to continue our NPL 2 theme by welcoming the coach of the Manningham United Blues, who have successfully gained promotion by finishing in second place on the final day of the season. And congratulations to them, might we say. And a big congratulations and welcome to the show, George KARKALETIS. How are you doing tonight, and how are you recovering from those celebrations last night?
Yeah, just recovering. I hope you guys can hear me.
We
okay?
can indeed.
All
We
good,
can
yeah, all
indeed.
good.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, it was a fantastic night. Massive celebrations right through the early hours of the morning, and sort of paying for a little bit today, but it's all good. Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, before we forget, many happy returns. It is your birthday today, and what a weekend to have a birthday on, eh?
Oh, mate. I never told the boys because I thought they might get a little bit too nervous yesterday. And in fact, I was suspended, so I was sitting on the sidelines biting my nails. It was my birthday, and just a terrific, really, really, really good birthday present, obviously. So I'll have to thank the boys maybe Tuesday when we get back together.
And how was yesterday? Because obviously going into the game yesterday, I think probably everybody was thinking Western United were probably going to get that second place, and they've dropped off the ladder. What were the emotions from your side going through the game yesterday, and were players aware of what was going on, and how did you keep that in check? Because it's really important. But what were your emotions like throughout the 90 minutes?
It was like a roller coaster, really, because we just felt that a little bit unexpected that Western were going to drop points last week at Northgate, and that bullying again yesterday. Obviously we had a lot of guys that were sitting on the phone, and some groups around the ground were chanting every time Bulleen scored a goal, and there was some idea of what was happening. Yeah. But again, you don't want to relay that sort of stuff to the players. We just wanted them to concentrate on the game. All we had to do was just do our bit, and obviously hope for the best. And when we got the news that Bulleen scored their third, and then we scored our third shortly after, it was almost like, wow, But still, we couldn't even celebrate until the final whistle because it was so nerve-wracking. We were quite aware of what was happening at Bulleen.
George, first of all, happy birthday and congratulations. But let's go through some of those scores of yesterday's game as we've got the ladder up there on the screen. Dandenong City defeated Eastern Lions 2-0 at home. Bulleen Lions, as we mentioned, 3-1 winners over Western United. The big one, Langwarrin 2 over Brunswick Juventus 1. And that condemned Brunswick Juventus to NPL 3. We'll be speaking to the president of Brunswick Juventus shortly, DOMINIC MONTESANO, straight after this. Then we had, obviously, you guys defeated Northcote City 3-1. Melbourne City, 3-0 winners over Kingston City. Pascoe Vale, 2-1 over Craig's Werribee City. And then finally, Preston Lions 2 and Brunswick City 2. Now, Craig mentioned how he was glad to see the end of Dandenong City in the NPL 2. But, mate, you must be really happy to have also seen the end of NPL 2 because it really was a competition of chaos this year.
That's probably the best way to describe it, Tony. I think it really is. And a lot of people at the beginning of the season spoke about, how strong the sides were and how competitive it's going to be. But I've heard that same thing at the beginning of every NPL2 season, for the last how many years. But it actually eventuated this year. It was just incredible. So many sides, fighting for positions. It was interesting right up until, yesterday with the promotion and relegation end. And it was a little bit like, the EPL football that you get in the UK. You think, there's always something to play for. So it was a terrific league to be a part of, really was. And glad to see the back of that as well. But, looking forward, it's going to be an amazing ride next year, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Now, George, I haven't said happy birthday and wished you birthday greetings myself yet, so I'll do that now. But also, I want to talk about one of the players you picked up mid-season, Ben Everson from Brunswick Juventus. 11 goals in 8 matches since he arrived. How important was his signing at the back end of the year?
Yeah, no, really important. Look, we sort of missed out on a couple of key signings at the start of the year with some We're looking at bringing in some visa players, in particular a striker, and that sort of didn't eventuate. And when Ben became available, we jumped at the opportunity because he's obviously a proven goal scorer. And he wasn't having a great time at Brunswick and wasn't getting a lot of football. I think when he came to us, our playing style suited him as well. We get a lot of balls into the box, and I think he's he's a clever player when he gets the ball at his feet in the box, and that was a massive difference for us. Yeah.
He is a prolific goal scorer, and it's a great pickup. But two players I wanted to pick up on, and they caused us chaos throughout the league, was Hernando and Jimenez. Your two other players, number 10, I think. Seb Hernando plays number 10. What a fantastic footballer! Just glides around the pitch, dictates everything in that middle of the park. How good is he? Because he was a pre-season recruit for you.
He was a last minute recruit, in fact, and we got him over the line while we were at our pre-season trip, and like 11th hour stuff, it was just ridiculous how. And we spoke to his agent in Brisbane, and we got him over the line, and to be truthful, we didn't know what to expect. He's a young boy, 21 years old, played the level up in up north in Queensland, but my God, he hit the ground running. He was tremendous. He had an outstanding season. He was consistent week in, week out. And for a 21-year-old, sometimes carried the team on his own shoulders. He won a lot of games for us.
Yeah. And one last one from me as well, George. Petty's Reserve, where you play your home games, top flight football heading there next year. Do you think that you will have a strong home ground advantage at that venue, given you've got a different playing surface there and maybe a unique venue?
I hope so. That's for sure. I think our away record was a little bit better this season, which says something for us. It maybe doesn't suit us 100% either, but the fact that most of the NPL, every NPL side, wouldn't have played on synthetic this year. It'll be obviously a challenge for them. And I've already spoken to a couple of NPL 1 coaches who are dreading it. So hopefully it is a really good advantage for us. We'll certainly try to make it our true home and make it difficult for clubs to come to us and play.
And look, one last question from me, George. Look, to us, it sort of seems that Manningham in recent weeks have just come from nowhere. But to you guys and the guys behind the club, has it been a bit of a surprise? Has it caught you off guard? Or have you already seen the possibility and have already started putting into place plans for next year should you have got promoted, and now you have got promoted to the NPL Victoria top flight?
To be honest, Tony, we haven't planned for next year. We weren't planning, and not because there was no belief. I said to the players, and I'm sure there was another 5 or 6 teams who were always mathematically possible to get promoted up until, almost up until yesterday. But we're just concentrating on this year, to be honest. We just wanted to do the best we can. I just kept saying to the players, all we can do is control what we can control, and that's winning games ourselves. And then what eventuates, at other grounds, then, if it goes our way, it goes our way. And but what that means now is that we've got to act really quick and, start preparing for next season, obviously. And
that brings me to the last question of the evening for yourself, George. You can go back and celebrate your birthday with your family. But what does planning look like for you guys now? Is it a big recruitment drive, given the fact that you've got promotion with the group that you've got? Do you go out and bring more players in? What does the next 6 to 8 weeks look like for yourself?
Oh, look, it's going to be really hard. I mean, the next 24 hours will still be, I just want to relax and enjoy what we've just achieved. But certainly, middle of next week, we're going to start obviously preparing for next year, and that means that will mean to bring in some players. We're going to have to there'll be a serious, not so much contender, but we want to stay in the league next year. And like Nick said, try to establish ourselves in the league and stay there for several years and try to do better each year. And, maybe one day we play finals football in NPL 1, but it will mean to bring in some players. It will obviously mean the first thing we do is review our team this year and look at the players that we'll retain and possibly release some. But we finished out with pretty light squad towards the end of yesterday anyway. A few boys left us late on in the piece, and so we didn't have 22 players to choose from, for example, yesterday. So we may be able to retain almost everybody and still top up the squad with some quality players that possibly have played NPL 1 in the past.
Yeah, well, certainly if recent past history is to go by, North Geelong, they got dropped the first season back, and Moreland City were very, very lucky to escape it. So there is a gulf between NPL 2 and NPL 1. So it will be a tough return to the top flight, that's for sure. But mate, we wish you all the best in the off season, and certainly we wish you all the best in 2024 with Manningham United.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Good luck, George. All the best, mate.
George. All the best.
George KARKALETIS from Manningham United Blues. And boys, yeah, that is going to be a tough one. Craig, you know very well the NPL 2 competition, having obviously coached in the NPL 2 this year, but you've also commentated, as you have, Steve, as well, as have I, a lot of games in the NPL 1 competition. Just how big is that gulf between NPL 2 and NPL?
Oh, look, I think honestly, there's a gulf between probably the top 4 or 5 sides in that league, maybe top 6, and then it sort of peters out a little bit, and then you obviously have a bit at the bottom. But the teams in NPL 2, if you look at those teams, you look at Dandenong City, they're an NPL side. Manningham are going to find you very difficult, but they deserve to go up. You got your Boleyn Lions, who historically are a big club. Preston Lions in there. Brunswick City, Brunswick Juventus, unfortunately, not going to be in. So there's teams in there that, will all, if you look at probably, I would imagine, all of those teams would say, well, we deserve to be in NPL. But it's tough, and there is a big gulf between the top sort of 5 or 6 and the rest of the league from my perspective. But look, anything can happen, and he showed that this year with Moreland City. I don't think anybody gave Moreland City a hoop's chance of staying in that league this year.
Yeah.
But they've done it, and they've done it on a very, very small budget with a very, very good group. And as Zoki said earlier on, good group of players that are united, and the culture is superb. And you get that bit right in any football club, and that takes you a long, long way, as it's proven this year.
Absolutely, 100% correct there, Craig. Folks, we're going to take a break. After we return, it's from the top of the NPL 2 division to the bottom, unfortunately, and we'll be talking to the president of Brunswick Juventus, DOMINIC MONTESANO. He'll be joining us to tell a little bit about what has happened there at Juventus this year in its 75th anniversary. But it's not all doom and gloom, and we'll find out after the break why that is the case. Folks, don't go away. It is the Football Out West Show. Carpentry by NJT is based in the western suburbs and has many years of experience to assist you in sourcing any and all of your carpentry needs. Carpentry by NJT are great supporters of local soccer clubs in Melbourne's western suburbs, including ambitious State League 1 outfit Sydenham Park Soccer Club. Home Builders Corp, meanwhile, is a Melbourne-based construction company by the same owners with more than 15 years' experience. Home Builders Corp specialises in new homes and unit developments. With attention to detail, they work to the highest standard to satisfy their customers with a very quick turnaround. For further details about how either Carpentry by NJT or Home Builders Corp can help you, contact owner-manager Nick on 0410 576 018 or via email at nick@homebuilderscorp.com.au. Carpentry by NJT and Home Builders Corp are the proud major sponsors of the Football Out West Show. Welcome back to the Football Out West Show, and it's time for our next guest. Steve, you're going to do the introductions.
All right, well, welcome to the show, the president of Brunswick Juventus, Mr. DOMINIC MONTESANO. Thanks for your company tonight. He's about to come on screen now, actually. There he is, Dominic, and thanks for joining us tonight. And a difficult time for the club in some ways, at least on the men's side of things, but probably a lot to look forward to still in the future at the club. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, no, very well. Thanks, guys, for having me on. Sort of a little bit gutted at the moment, like a lot of us are here at the club. But like you mentioned before the break, we've been around for 75 years, and we're not going to lay down. We're going to battle, and we're going to get back to where we believe we need to be. So we're a big club. Our women's side of things, they're sitting on top of the Women's Premier League at the moment, looking for promotion into WNPL next year, which is secured already. So there's still plenty of good things happening at the club in our 75th year.
Dominic, good evening and welcome to the show, mate. Appreciate your time coming on this evening, and like I said, difficult circumstances. But just talk us through the roller coaster of the league, because it started a long time ago, back in February, and it didn't go well from the start. So talk us through the emotions of the whole season from a Brunswick perspective, mate.
From a Brunswick perspective, we couldn't have imagined it would have ended up the way it did, unfortunately. I think we started off the season with a lot of injuries. We had 8 of our starting 11 players that were injured for a number of weeks. We had an 18-year-old in goals for 6 or 8 weeks, I think it was as well. But a lot of those key players really put us behind the 8 ball early, and it was a battle all the way until the end. We got some games during the middle of the season. Towards the end, we were on a bit of a winning streak or an undefeated streak, and we actually thought that we were going to be out of there. We were 2.5 games, I think, dead last at one stage. And the boys and the coaching staff, to their credit, we didn't give up. We kept going until the last game. It's amazing how football is. 12 months ago to the day, we were battling for promotion and in a battle against 3 other clubs, and 12 months down the track, we're in the opposite position. So, look, for me, it's been a very up and down season. I guess from a learning point, you probably need to go through these sort of phases, I guess, and it's a learning thing for all of us here at the club, and we'll take on a lot of the things that we've that have occurred this year, and we'll build, and we'll come back definitely bigger and better of where we are at the moment, anyway.
And Dominic, touching again on the women's side of things, as going along very, very well. 15 wins from 18 starts there, looking really good. The World Cup must have just inspired the playing group as well, and also the next generation of top female footballers in this country, and also at your club. Where are you at with your women's and girls program at the club at the moment?
Like we said, we're in our second 5-year plan with our women's program. So we've had a couple of 5-year programs. The first 5-year one was to get out of the state leagues and into State League 1. And then we appointed Josip Lonkarik at the start of this season for our women's team. And, from the start, he set his sights on the exact same thing that the club wanted, and that was promotion into WNPL, which, the girls have done an amazing job, and the credit to them, the hard work and the commitment that they've put in, has been unbelievable. Essendon Royals have given us a battle this year, and it's good to see that they'll be joining us up there next year as well, and we'll continue that fierce rivalry in WNPL. But the Women's World Cup has been amazing for all clubs, and I think all clubs would see the amount of interest that has been generated, and the amount of inquiries we're currently getting now on our website is amazing. Brilliant. So that was unbelievable for sport here in Australia, but more for our code, what that's done. We're going to see that over the next 12 months, definitely. In our sport.
If we have a look at the NPL women's ladder, Southern United will be out of that competition, but that's the association. That is the group that you'll be mingling with next year. Bulleen Lions, Burundara, South Melbourne, Calder United, Alamein Preston, Box Hill United, Bayside United, Heidelberg United, Football Victoria emerging, and also Essendon Royals. But speaking of the women's team there at Brunswick Juventus, Dominic, we've got a little bit of footage from the Black and White TV interview that was done with Josip Lonkarik.
Joining us tonight on Black and White TV, I have with us the senior women's coach, Josip Lonkarik. Josip, mathematically, I think we're over the line and we are promoted into WNPL. Congratulations, a job well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a great year for the girls and a great year for the club in the 75th year anniversary. So hoping that the next 2 games go well and we can maybe secure the championship.
Were you confident all along that the season had panned out the way it did?
I think there was an indicator early in the pre-season where the girls, they all came in quite early to do some extra running because we had to cancel the session. And I saw 10 girls out there running, and I brought them in after that, and I said, that is why you might win this championship, because you've got that spirit now. And that was early in January. So there were some good signs, but you never know until the season starts if your plan will come to fruition.
It's a competitive league, and we've had to both be physically astute plus tactically aware of what the opposition were doing. How much did you rely on your support staff to oversee some of the projects that you were wanting to make sure they succeeded?
Yeah, I think everyone brought something different to the table. So we had Natalie, who was really good with communicating the girls to me and how they're feeling about training sessions. Michael and Osteo that we brought on board here to help the girls with their recovery. He was fantastic. A goalkeeper coach Twan to work with our goalkeepers, and then at the back end we brought in Eddie Mercado, who also helped us out with the back end of the season and being able to break them into smaller groups. So it was definitely a team effort from everybody.
Look, I know it's not lost on you that this is the 8th year that the club had set 2 5-year plans into the second one. We've jumped from Division 3 into the WNPL next year, and a lot of credit's got to go to the club for planning that. You're the latest component in doing that. The success you've brought this year and the ability to get the best out of the group we currently have has been an absolute treat for the club to witness. So congratulations once again.
Thank you for all the support. It's been a great ride for the girls, and it's not done yet. Now the fun starts, the planning for next year. So we look forward to making some history with the club in the NPL.
Craig?
Yes, fantastic little video. That well done to everybody at the club, and especially to Josip on his achievement this year. There's a comment being made by Vasco, which you can just bring up there for me, Tonch. Now, obviously, from a club's perspective, Dom, the club has been very vocal. They want to be part of the proposed B League. Yep. Obviously, the silence is deafening on what's going on. Can you shed any light on what's going on with the NSD?
Look, I'd like to, but we have signed confidentiality agreements with Football Australia, obviously because of the sensitivity behind it and the other clubs obviously involved in the process. I can say that the process is moving along. We're hoping in the next few weeks to cement our decision and let everyone know where we're going to be standing in regards to that. But look, at this stage, I can't really divulge too much information, and all the clubs are pretty much working through all the application processes at the moment.
And do you think, from a perspective of it starting in 2024, is a realistic time frame?
Look, personally, I don't know if that's going to be realistic. If they're saying March next year, quite possibly. Some clubs may be in a position to do so, others may not. There's still a lot of questions to be ticked off, I guess. That before we can sort of say yes, it's going to be something definite going to start next year. Football Australia wants to get it started. I can tell you that much. That they do want to get it up and running. So yeah, it's pretty much a little bit of wait and see sort of scenario. And wait for the information from Football Australia to come through.
Okay, we understand the confidentiality agreement, and you're hamstrung as to what you can say. But what about part 2 of Vasco's comment? This is interesting, and that's got to do with Football Victoria. Is there talk that NPL 3 next year will be made up of 14 teams? I mean, I haven't heard anything. Gents, I don't know about you, but have you, Dominic?
We haven't heard anything. No, we haven't heard of how the league structures are going to be affected if a B League does go ahead and how that's going to look. I guess from our point of view, we need to plan for next year, knowing that we're in that league and regardless of how many teams are going to be in there. But we haven't heard anything from Football Victoria. Yeah.
So, Dom, how is the club going with facilities, that side of thing, and your capacity to, give all the junior players and senior players the opportunity to train and play? I understand you use a variety of venues. That venue near the Merry Creek, I think it's called Desheen Reserve for some training. Also, I think Reddish Reserve up near the Faulkner Cemetery for the women's, and then CB Smith as well for the guys. You sort of spreading your catchment area far and wide.
We do. We're spread over 5 venues, believe it or not.
Wow.
In excess of 35, close to 40 teams at the club, starting from our under 5 and 6 program all the way through to our over 45. So we're just currently playing on the ground at the moment. So it's always a battle. It's difficult. We have managed to get the right system working that we can facilitate all of our teams and all of the men's and girls and women's and all abilities as well. We've got that in the pipeline too. So it is a battle, but we've got some good people around the place that assist with that and make sure that everyone's got a spot to train and everyone definitely has a place to play on the weekends in the competitive games. But it's a battle that you deal with when you've got such a high number of teams at the club.
Yeah, it's a challenge. And how does obviously I've asked everybody, so how does the next couple of weeks look for you and the board and everybody around the club as you start to make light of what's happened in the last 24 hours and try and plan for 2024?
Yeah, well, that's pretty much one of the things there is sort of trying to understand, come to terms with everything. I guess we need to do that pretty quickly and start planning for next year. So we'll sit down internally as a club and go through our own assessments and do our own critiquing, I guess, and look to build to go forward next year. NPL 3. Pascal Val's going to be down there with us as well. It's not going to be easy in that league either. And
it just shows you how competitive and how hard this league was this year.
It was. I actually said it yesterday.
Both you and Pascal were in the same boat this time last year of getting promotion to possibly NPL.
Yeah. I said it yesterday. I was talking to Tanya, the president or the outgoing president at Langwarrin. Before the game that at the end of the day, someone's going to get relegated from this league with 29 or 30 points or 31 points. And it's just, looking at the other leagues, everyone's on sort of 14, 15 points in that bottom area and 29 points in NPL 1 or in NPL 3, you're in the middle of the table, So
it's insane.
It is. And like he's mentioned, it was an up and down league. It was a chaotic league. Who knows if we're ever going to see a league like that again anytime soon? But it was competitive all the way until the end. Both at the top and at the bottom, and that's what you want, I guess, as a club. You want to be in there, and you don't want it to be, all one way. Congratulations to Dandy City and Nick and the boys there. They've done a fantastic job. And to George, we played them a few weeks ago, and we went down to a 4-3 thriller there at their ground there in Manningham. And all the best to those guys. I'm sure they understand the challenges of going up and staying up there, and we wish them all the best as well. And really great to see them up there.
And on that note, Dominic, we wish you all the very best in your 75th anniversary. We certainly would have wished that it was a different outcome, but nonetheless, the ladies are certainly carrying the load, the burden this year. It seems.
We'll be celebrating our 75th anniversary gala on the 23rd of September at Essendon Hyatt. The Hyatt Essendon Field, sorry.
Yep.
So we've still got plenty to to celebrate as a club. And,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on that note, thank you very much for joining us here on the Football Out West show. We look forward to having your company in 2024 and wish the club all the very best.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Craig, Steve, Tommy. All the best, guys.
All the best, Dom.
Thanks, Dom. All the best.
He's mistaken me for my son, Tommy.
No,
that's it.
You've had Tommy, you've had Tony.
Tommy.
You've had Tommy, Tony. The only one they've missed tonight is Tomchi.
It's fantastic. It's great. Folks, so we're going to take a very short break. When we return, it's time to wind up, and then we'll also give our predictions for the big Women's World Cup final later tonight. Folks, don't go away. We'll be with you very, very shortly. Well, how quick was that break? Guys, let's whiz through State League 1 and State League 2, Men's State League 1 and State League 2, and let's take a look at the situation there. Steve, you look at State League 1.
All right, so the scores from the penultimate round: Upfield 1, Sydenham Park 0, Yarraville Glory 1, Westgate 3, Brimbank Stallions 3, Altona City 2, FC Strathmore 5, Whittlesea United 0, Keilor Park 5, Corio 0. That's quite a turn up. Whittlesea Rangers 1, Banyule City 4. And that is the results for the round 21 of the State League 1 Northwest.
Yeah, Altona City have already secured the top spot there. Only one team gets promoted to NPL 3. Also, we think, who knows, anything may happen at this stage. That's the state of affairs. Let's turn our attention to State 2, Craig.
We can. I'm just looking for the results, actually, because I've misplaced them on my screen here. The ones I do have is Altona East Phoenix defeating Hume United 3-0. Westvale Olympic with a win at Epping. I believe gets them. Oh no, that's a win. Westfield United 1-0 at Epping.
Yep.
Mill Park and Altona North 1-1. Western Suburbs 6, Laylaw 0, a result that sees the Western Suburbs back into the State League One for the 2024 season. Congratulations to everybody there at Western Suburbs. And I'm not sure what the score was in the Geelong Hoppers game.
Yeah, Rangers 3, Hoppers 1. So we see Hoppers dropping into the bottom 2. So come on, Hoppers, get yourselves out of that position and getting back into safety. 1 round to go, though. So, look, it's pretty tight there with Rangers on 19 and also Altona North on 19, Hoppers on 18. Epping City already gone down.
Now, next week, in the last round, gents, Altona North host Hoppers Crossing at home. What a big game that is going to be. That is going to be absolutely incredibly amazing. Now, if we go to the right at the bottom, the State 5 competition, the Western Zone there, Balmoral convincing winners. On the weekend, they won 4-0 over Buffalo to celebrate their promotion to State 4 next year. But with the top 2 teams getting promoted, have a look at that. Melton Phoenix in second spot with 47 points. West Point with 47 points. Only one goal difference separates those 2 squads. And would you believe it? In round 22, Melton Phoenix hosts West Point at MacPherson Park there, 3 p.m. on Saturday. Promotion, relegation, folks, you cannot match the excitement. You can, especially on the final day of the season. It's going to be an absolute fantastic game, and there's going to be several of those in the state leagues. Next week, we'll be focusing on the state leagues. We'll be focusing on the Women's Victorian Premier League as well. Unfortunately, gents, you guys won't be with us. Craig, all the very best with your op. And Steve, all the best with your little trip overseas.
Thanks, Tonchi, and it's been a pleasure for another year being alongside your esteemed company, and well done to you guys for all the good work put in each and every week to make it all happen, and thanks to the viewer at home as well. We wouldn't turn up without you, and all of our sponsors too.
Now, before we go, gents, first of all, Craig, yes, we know where your loyalties are going to be tonight, but predictions for the Women's World Cup final, England versus Spain there at 8 p.m. Who are you tipping?
Oh, God. I can't say it. I can't. No, it's not going to happen. Spain, 2-1.
Spain. He's putting the mocker on him. Steve, what about yourself?
I'm just looking at Google. The probability has got Spain 36% and England 33%. So, and 31% extra time probability. Lauren James is starting from the bench, I'm seeing in the lineup, so she doesn't make the starting 11 after her suspension. I think England will win 2-1.
We'll never hear the end of it, mate.
Will I be cheering for them, though, Craig? Probably not.
Good man.
Well, Tonchi, folks, do you have a forecast for the match?
I'm just going to say this. The game will go into extra time. I don't think it will end in penalties, though. Who's going to win it? I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Spain. I don't know what the score's going to be. I think it might be 0-0 after full time, and 1-0. 1-0 will be the score. It'll be a low-scoring tight game.
Nothing would please me more. That would finish off a fantastic weekend.
On that note, folks, thank you once again for joining us for the Football Out West show. We'll be back next week at the normal time of 8 p.m. and we'll have a special guest host, Mark Ivkovic, who will be alongside me as we take a very comprehensive look at the final day of the state league competitions. Good night, folks. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.